The alien desert stretched endlessly. Crimson sands shimmered under a scorching sun. Two azure suns hung low in the sky. Jagged rock formations clawed at the sky. Captain Alex Walker stumbled. His spacesuit was heavy. He was alone. His squad was gone, lost in the crash. He saw movement in the distance. Two figures silhouetted against the blinding light. He raised his weapon, his pulse racing. As he got closer, he lowered his gun in astonishment. They were not the enemy he expected. They were alien, yes, but slight and humanoid. One was draped in flowing blue robes, the other in shimmering green. They turned to him, their faces a mixture of curiosity and fear. Alex lowered his weapon. He was alone, injured and lost. They were his only hope. He had to bridge the gap between their worlds. He had to make them understand. "Help!" Alex croaked, his voice raspy. He pointed to his parched throat. The aliens exchanged glances. Their eyes, large and luminous, held a strange intelligence. The one in blue, taller and more imposing, stepped forward. She spoke in a series of chirps and whistles. Alex shook his head, not understanding. The other alien, smaller and more delicate, gently touched his arm. Her touch was cool, soothing. She pointed to herself, Lyra, then to her companion, Kira. Alex nodded. He pointed to himself, Alex. He repeated the names, testing the strange sounds. Lyra, Kira. Despite the language barrier, a sense of shared predicament emerged. Alex was a soldier, sworn to protect, and these women, these aliens, were in need. He would help them. He had to. They communicated through a mix of gestures, drawings in the sand. Alex learned their ship had crashed too. They were searching for a beacon, a way to call for help. Days turned into weeks. They trekked across the unforgiving landscape. The desert was a harsh teacher. It offered no solace, only endless dunes and scorching heat. They learned to rely on each other. Alex, with his military training, found water, tracked game. Lyra, strong and resourceful, used her knowledge of the land to navigate. Kira, gentle and observant, seemed to sense changes in the weather, protected them from sandstorms. One night, huddled around a small fire, Alex looked at his companions. Lyra's usually stern face was softened by the flickering light. Kira met his gaze, her large eyes filled with understanding. In that shared silence, a bond began to form, stronger than words, forged in the crucible of survival. The alien nights were breathtaking. Thousands of stars glittered in the deep purple sky. Unfamiliar constellations painted stories Alex had never heard. One night, Lyra pointed to the sky. She spoke in her melodic language, her voice filled with longing. Alex didn't understand the words, but he understood the emotion. It was a shared language of longing, a yearning for home. He pointed to a bright star, his own North Star. "Earth," he said. Lyra and Kira leaned closer, their eyes wide with wonder. He was sharing a piece of himself, his world, with them. As they gazed at the stars, a sense of connection transcended their differences. They were strangers, from different worlds, yet united under the same sky. The universe, once vast and indifferent, now felt a little smaller, a little warmer. Section 5, Oasis of Hope, Mirage of Despair. They found an oasis, a splash of emerald green in the crimson expanse. Palm-like trees offered shade, a spring gurgled cool water. Lyra and Kira whooped with joy, splashing each other like children. For the first time since the crash, Alex felt a surge of hope. Maybe they could survive, maybe they could find their beacon. He embraced the moment, the laughter, the feeling of camaraderie, but their joy was short-lived. A patrol of hostile aliens, the same ones that had attacked his squad, descended upon the oasis. They were reptilian, with scaly skin and glowing red eyes, armed with weapons that pulsed with energy. The oasis, once a sanctuary, became a battleground. Alex fought with the ferocity of a cornered animal, his laser pistol a lifeline. Lyra, surprisingly strong, fought with a spear, her movements swift and deadly. Kira, nimble and quick, used the terrain to her advantage, her daggers flashing. Section 6, The Heart of the Storm. They fought bravely, but they were outnumbered. Alex was wounded, a searing pain in his side. Lyra was down, her leg trapped under a fallen rock. Kira fought with the desperation of one who had nothing left to lose. Alex knew this was it. He wouldn't leave them. He wouldn't abandon them. He had sworn an oath to protect, even if it meant sacrificing his own life. He looked at Kira, her face streaked with sweat and dirt, but her eyes blazed with defiance. He understood they wouldn't give up, not while they still had breath in their bodies. As the enemy closed in, a blinding light filled the sky. A ship descended, its hull shimmering gold in the sunlight. The attackers scattered, melting back into the desert like shadows. The battle was over. Section 7. A bridge across the stars. The ship belonged to Lyra and Kira's people. They were rescued from the harsh, unforgiving desert that had tested their limits and forged their resilience. As they boarded the ship, looking back at the receding planet, Alex felt a pang of sadness. He had survived the trials and tribulations of this alien world. He would see Earth again, the familiar blue and green orb that he called home. But a part of him, a part that had learned and grown in this harsh alien landscape, would remain forever changed. The lessons he learned here were invaluable. He looked at Lyra and Kira, their faces filled with gratitude and relief. They had endured so much together. They had saved each other, not just from the physical dangers, but from the isolation and despair that threatened to consume them. They had bridged the gap between their worlds, not with words, but with trust, with courage, with compassion. These bonds were stronger than any spoken language. The bond they forged in the heart of that alien desert, under the watchful gaze of two azure suns, would stay with him long after the memory of the crimson sands had faded. It was a bond that transcended time and space. As the ship hurtled through the vastness of space, Alex knew that the universe was full of wonders, of dangers, and most importantly, of connections waiting to be made. Each star held a new possibility. These connections, forged in the crucible of shared experiences, were the true treasures of the cosmos. And sometimes the greatest journeys were not measured in light years, but in the bonds forged in the face of adversity. These were the journeys that defined who they were and who they would become. Section 8. Towards the Dying Light. The journey back to Lyra and Kira's home planet was a blur. The vastness of space seemed to stretch endlessly, with stars flickering like distant memories. Each moment was filled with a mix of anticipation and nostalgia. Alex, exhausted but exhilarated, spent his time learning their language, their customs, their stories. He immersed himself in their ancient texts and oral traditions, finding a deep connection with their history. He learned about their world, a world of shimmering cities and lush forests, a stark contrast to the harsh desert he had left behind. The transformation from barren lands to vibrant ecosystems was nothing short of magical. He learned about their culture, a culture that valued peace, knowledge, and above all, unity. Their festivals, their music, their art, everything spoke of a deep-seated harmony and respect for life. A culture that embraced diversity and saw strength in their differences. They celebrated each unique trait, each distinct voice, weaving them into the rich tapestry of their society. A stark contrast to the conflict that had ravaged his own world. The scars of war were still fresh in his mind, but here he found a beacon of hope. As they approached their home planet, a beautiful blue and green jewel against the backdrop of space, Alex felt a sense of anticipation, a sense of belonging he hadn't expected. The planet seemed to welcome him with open arms. He was no longer an outsider, a stranger in a strange land. The bonds he had formed were genuine, built on mutual respect and understanding. He was a friend, a brother, a part of something bigger than himself. The sense of community was overwhelming, filling a void he hadn't realized existed. The dying light of their journey illuminated the truth. The universe wasn't about conquering the unknown. It was about embracing it, about finding beauty in the unfamiliar. It was about understanding it. Every new discovery was a step towards a deeper connection, a more profound appreciation of the cosmos. It was about opening your heart to the possibility of connection, no matter how alien it might seem. In the end, it was these connections that defined the journey, that gave it meaning. Section 9. A New Dawn. The beginning of a new era, a fresh start under the alien sun. The landing was met with cheers, a symphony of joy and relief echoing through the alien desert city. Lyra and Kira were hailed as heroes, their bravery and determination shining brightly in the hearts of the people. Alex, the alien soldier who had fought alongside them, was met with curiosity, with respect, with open arms. He was a symbol of the unity that had been forged. He knew he couldn't stay, despite the warmth and acceptance he felt. His heart was heavy with the knowledge of his duty. His duty was to his own people, to return and share the lessons learned, the bonds formed. But he carried a part of this world within him, a seed of hope he was determined to plant back on Earth. A message of unity, of cooperation, of understanding. This small token represented a bridge between worlds. As he boarded the ship that would take him home, he felt a mix of emotions: sadness, hope, and a sense of purpose. He looked back at the faces gathered on the landing platform, each one a testament to the journey they had shared. Lyra, Kira, and countless others, their faces etched with the promise of a brighter future, their eyes filled with hope, a collective dream of peace and prosperity, with the promise of a new dawn, a new chapter in their intertwined destinies. The bond of worlds, forged in the crucible of the Crimson Desert, stretched across the stars, uniting two civilizations, a beacon of hope in the vastness of space, a light that would guide future generations, a testament to the power of connection, the strength found in unity, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, even when the night seems endless, even in the most alien of landscapes, where the unknown looms large, hope, like life, always finds a way. It perseveres, it grows, and it flourishes.